Two of the most famous states in Germany and the USA are, of course, Bavaria and Texas. Because of their personalities, culture, and history, a cliche you often hear in Germany is that Bavaria is the Texas of Germany. But how true is that really?
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie.
And I'm Aubrey.
And we are two Americans currently living in Germany and sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. Aubrey and I both originally are from Oklahoma, a US state that borders Texas, but a large part of both of our families actually live in Texas, and we both did go to universities in Texas. So it is safe to say that we know Texas pretty well. We now live in the German state of Rheinland-Pfalz, but while living here for nearly 2 years and through our travels throughout Germany before we moved here, we have explored many parts of Bavaria quite extensively, giving us a pretty good idea of what that state also is all about. All that to say, this makes us the obvious and only definitive authorities based on our experiences with both Texas and Bavaria on whether or not Bavaria truly is the Texas of Germany. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today in our video. Howdy y'all and Grüß Gott. These two states share a lot of attributes.
Bavaria and Texas actually have a very unique and interesting connection when it comes to the language they speak that we are going to get to in a little bit. But speaking of languages, we want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, italki. Italki offers personalized one-on-one lessons in over 130 languages and from 15,000 high-quality teachers that set their own pricing so you can find one that suits your budget. With italki, you simply find a teacher that fits your schedule, tell them what you want to learn, and you get customized lessons plans specific to your goals. With the control you have and the personalized attention you get from italki's high-quality teachers and service, you will save both time and money in achieving your language learning goals by learning in one of the fastest ways possible and on your budget.
In fact, just 19 hours of lessons on italki is equivalent to a semester in college. Italki is a brand that you can definitely trust because of how long they have been in the game. And in fact, italki is celebrating their 14th birthday this month, and to help celebrate, they want to give you all a coupon pack worth 115 euros you can use on their platform by signing up today. Use the link in our description and get started achieving your language learning goals.
If you're from either Texas or Bavaria, let us know in the comments. But let's go ahead and start our comparison with a little bit of Texan and Bavarian histories, because this may give us a better understanding of who they both are today and why. Both Texas and Bavaria share that they were once independent nations before they became states of a larger country. Texas was an independent nation when they declared their independence from Mexico in 1836 until 1846. Texas technically became a new US state in 1845, but the transfer from a republic to a state officially happened in February 1846. Bavaria became an independent kingdom in 1806, joined the German Empire in 1871, but kept its title of a kingdom and became a state of the Federal Republic of Germany in 1949.
Because of these histories, this has given Texans and Bavarians both a very unique pride in their respective states. Many Texans and Bavarians will also first see themselves as Texans or Bavarians before describing themselves as Germans or Americans. There are even jokes like, how do you ask a Bavarian or a Texan where they are from? And the answer is, you don't have to, because they will first tell you. They also both have a reputation of getting under the skin of their respective citizens, not from these regions because of this. And of course, today you will still hear debates from time to time in both states about whether or not they should become their own independent countries once again.
One of the most famous sayings about Texas is, everything is bigger in Texas. This is something that Texans proclaim proudly as they apply it to everything in their lives, from sports stadiums, food portions, hats, gas stations, and personalities. Texans like to do it big, but one other key characteristic is the size of the actual state. And in fact, Texas is the largest state in the contiguous United States. We have to specifically say contiguous because technically Alaska is the largest state out of all 50, but Texas is the largest in the lower 48.
In the same way in Germany, Bavaria is also also known for its size, and it actually is the largest Bundesland in Germany. Both states make up a significant amount of their respective countries compared to the other states, and both also lie in the southern portion of their country. So for this category, yes, Bavaria really is like the Texas of Germany.
In terms of world fame, you could also easily make the comparison that Bavaria is the Texas of Germany. Whenever we meet new people and they ask where we are from, most of the time we cannot simply say we are from Oklahoma, but rather have to follow that up with something like, it touches Texas. So they know the region we are talking about due to how iconic and famous Texas is and the lack of awareness of Oklahoma, unfortunately.
In the same way, many people may not be fully aware that Germany has states, but they are at least well aware of the German region known as Bavaria. Whether it is because of Oktoberfest or because of the natural beauty of this historic state, it is also hard to come across someone in the world that has not heard of Bavaria. However, you would be hard pressed to find somebody in the world that could tell you anything about Mecklenburg-Vorpommern.
Is that a state? I didn't really know about that.
Yeah,
wow.
It's actually a
And
state.
I live. Because of these two states' world fame, they both often wrongly get their cultures labeled as quintessential culture of their countries. Bavarian culture to outsiders will be labeled as just German culture, and foreigners may also label Texan culture as American culture. But if you have traveled throughout Germany or the US, one thing you will definitely pick up on is that Texas does not represent the entire US, just like Bavaria does not represent all of Germany. Both the US and Germany are filled with unique and varied cultures across these countries beyond just these two states.
Both these states are very proud of their culture and heritage as well, and it is something you will see represented in their everyday lives, unlike in other states possibly. For example, in Bavaria, you will really find people wearing traditional clothing like lederhosen and dirndls on occasions, whereas in the rest of the country, you may not find people wearing traditional clothing known as Tracht. It also isn't common to see the German flag flying in much of Germany, including Bavaria, but instead, you will definitely see the Bavarian flag being flown any chance Bavarians get, and on all sorts of decorations and clothing.
Texas also has very unique and traditional clothing like cowboy boots, cowboy hats, and large belt buckles, and you really will find these being worn quite often. Go to Texas and you will see the Texan flag on every flagpole, off every house, as stickers on every truck, on clothing, and really any other way that they can find to display it. We recently also met up with a German friend whose family used to host exchange students from Texas, and he described how they all would bring cheesy gifts from Texas to them, like candles in the shape of Texas, little figurines with the famous Lone Star, etc. He thought it was weird, and we just laughed because it was all things you find regularly decorating a Texan's home.
Some 3 million Texans claim German ancestry because of the mass of Germans that settled large parts of Texas starting in around the 1830s. The saying, Bavaria is the Texas of Germany, can of course also be reversed to say that Texas is the Bavaria of the United States. And Bavarian cultures can be experienced quite authentically, and sometimes a little not so authentically, in Texan towns settled by Germans such as Fredericksburg, New Braunfels, Weimar, and much more. In these parts of Texas, you will find a specific dialect of German still spoken called Texas Deutsch or Texas German. This is the German that has been passed down from the original German settlers, and for many people in this region, it is the native language they spoke in home growing up. It is a unique old German language spoken with a distinct Texas twang.
Weil da waren, wo wir die Kinder hatten und die klein waren, haben wir nicht hier bei Friedrichsburg gewohnt. So haben die anderen Kinder, was die gekannt haben, die haben kein Deutsch gesprochen, so haben unsere Kinder das auch nicht gelernt.
Another Texas town with the German name Klein, Texas can be found just northwest of Houston, but there can also be a Klein, Texas found in northwest Germany near the border of the Netherlands that was brought to our attention by one of our viewers, Andre. So this isn't actually in Bavaria, but Emsland has been Germany's largest producer of oil since the 1950s, and since then it was given the nickname Little Texas because of its similarities to Texas's fame as the largest oil producer in the United States.
Just like you find German culture alive and well in Texas, you will also find Texan culture in Bavaria as well. Just travel on down to Niederbayern and you will find a hey y'all and yeehaw good time at Pullman City Western Town. This is a Western Town theme park, and although we haven't found that this city is expressly mimicking an old Texas town, it of course embodies a lot of what Texas is all about, with cowboy shows, cattle driving, and more, and supposedly can give you the feeling of stepping back into a real old cowboy town. We haven't actually been there, so we don't know for sure how authentic it is, but if you've been, let us know in the comments if it is actually worth checking out.
Both Texas and Bavaria share a reputation for being quite conservative politically, socially, and also religiously, as they both have very deep and strong Christian influences. However, there is a stark distinction between the predominant type of Christianity between the two. About 50% of Bavarians are Catholic and 50% of Texans are Protestant. Regardless of the type of faith, both states have their faith playing a very large role in the political policies of their states and their daily lives. And of course, one of the most important things that Texas and Germany both have in common is the love of their Bavarian son and adopted Texas son, Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk Nowitzki!
Dirk was born in Würzburg, Bavaria, and played professional basketball for the Dallas Mavericks in Texas. So is Bavaria the Texas of Germany and Texas the Bavaria of America? Actually, I would say yes in many ways. Although quite different culturally, they do share a lot in common that make them very similar in more than one way and makes them very unique and exciting places to visit.
Let us know other ways that you know that Bavaria or Texas are similar or different in the comments below. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is travel by train, car, boat, or flying. Which would you rather take if all were an option? Thanks so much for watching this video, guys, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you in our next video.
Tschüss! Another Texas town with a German name, Klein, Texas. Wait, Klein, Texas.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Klein.
I'm
Texas.
confused. What happened there?
Klein. Texas.
Hey. Another Texas town with a German name, Klein, Texas, can be found just northwest of Houston. Texas. Just northwest.
Of Houston, Texas.